At 50 years old, he moves as if age simply doesn't apply to him. Standing across from younger opponents, even those with an MMA background, he never rushes to attack. Instead, he studies their shoulders, their footwork, and even their breathing, then steps in at the exact moment before their strike has fully developed. This is Jeet Kune Do brought to life. Fast, simple, and devastating in the blink of an eye. Like the shadow of Bruce Lee, his advantage doesn't come from bigger muscles. It comes from impeccable timing that leaves every opponent a fraction of a second too late. The question is, how is he able to read an attack that quickly? An MMA fighter named Jeff Chan visited Legacy Martial Arts in London, England to spar with Paul Clark, the gym's owner and head instructor. But before we get into that, you first need to know who Jeff Chan really is. Jeff Chan is a professional Canadian bantamweight MMA fighter who became known for his impressive debut in one championship. With a professional record of 4 wins and only 1 loss, along with an amateur Muay Thai record of 24 wins and 2 losses, he is also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt from TriStar Gym. So one thing is certain, Jeff Chan is no ordinary MMA fighter. Meanwhile, Paul Clark has an equally impressive background. He holds black belts in Jeet Kune Do and karate, along with 2 decades of experience in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and no GI grappling. Beyond that, he has also mastered Filipino martial arts weapon systems, especially knife and stick fighting. This combination of skills has made him a highly respected and versatile martial artist. At 50 years old, Clark may no longer be in his prime, but who would have thought that with his extensive martial arts background, he could make Jeff struggle during their sparring session? This was evident when the opening round began. Clark threw a feint toward the body, causing Jeff to lower his guard. Then, in a surprising move, Clark followed up with a powerful left overhand punch over the top. Not wanting to fall behind, Jeff attempted to close the distance with a cross punch. However, Clark was quicker and responded with a cross block. Jeff then continued the exchange by chaining together an inside low kick followed by a lead body kick combination. And this was where Clark's speed became truly undeniable. As Jeff moved forward aggressively, Clark slipped away from Jeff's cross punch and immediately countered with a clean right hook. It looked as if Clark could read his opponent's movements down to the smallest details. His speed was even more apparent moments later when he used a perfectly timed pullback reflex to evade Jeff's attack and instantly responded with another right hook. One of Clark's most impressive attacks came when he threw a lead uppercut, then quickly turned it into a hand trap, pulling Jeff's arm downward before delivering a sharp cross punch. Jeff was also repeatedly caught by Clark's left hooks because he often dropped his right hand while attacking. Clark recognized this mistake and consistently took advantage of the opening whenever it appeared. And when the second round of sparring began, Clark once again landed a combination of an outside low kick followed by a right hook against Jeff. He did not stop there. Clark threw an inside low kick, intentionally missing the target so that his leg could return to a southpaw stance, then immediately fired a left straight while keeping his head outside the line of attack. Here, Clark once again managed to avoid Jeff's jab, which was followed by a back fist strike. Clark slipped the attack cleanly, and Jeff then responded with a shoulder roll. However, Paul quickly ducked underneath Jeff's left hook, avoiding yet another incoming strike. You might be wondering, how can a 50-year-old fighter like Clark possess the speed to outmatch an MMA fighter who is much younger than him? The answer lies in the mechanics of Jeet Kune Do itself. The first secret is what the science of combat calls economy of motion, or the principle of absolute movement efficiency. When we watch modern fighters generate power by swinging their bodies or pulling their fists back before launching an attack, Clark does the complete opposite. He executes what is known in the fundamental principles of Jeet Kune Do as the non-telegraphed punch. A strike that appears from nowhere. No setup, no unnecessary shoulder tension, and no visible signal, no matter how small, for Jeff's eyes to detect. According to the laws of biomechanics, an opponent does not actually react to the punch itself. They react to the preparation that happens before the punch is thrown. When Clark eliminates that preparation phase, he instantly reduces the amount of time his opponent's brain has to process the threat. That is why Jeff was not physically slower. He was simply a step behind because his nervous system received the danger signal too late. Clark launched his attacks directly from a stationary position to the target, using the shortest possible path within the geometry of combat. However, physical speed without direction is meaningless. Clark's true strength that night was a real-life demonstration of the literal meaning of Jeet Kune Do itself, the way of the intercepting fist. Clark isn't fighting defensively. He's not waiting for Jeff's strikes to land before throwing counters. That's because Jeet Kune Do trains its practitioners to intercept, to strike at the exact moment an opponent is just beginning to attack. But how is that even possible when everything happens within fractions of a second? The answer lies in the ability to read the body's subtle anatomy. Before a punch is ever thrown, the human body always gives away tiny clues. A slight shift in weight, a subtle twitch in the trapezius muscle near the shoulder, or a breathing pattern that suddenly becomes shorter and sharper. With decades of experience, Clark has learned to read this silent body language. He recognizes Jeff's intention before that intention has a chance to become a full movement. At the peak of this entire mechanical exchange, we are brought back to the philosophical core established by the architect of this martial art decades ago. Speed without form, flexibility without limits. Bruce Lee once expressed his most legendary principle, one that perfectly defines everything Clark demonstrates on the mat. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. If you pour water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you pour it into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. Water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. To become like water in real combat means letting go of rigid dogma and fixed tactics. When Jeff tried to control the pace with his Muay Thai combinations and the advantage of his youth, Clark didn't meet force with force. Instead, he flowed. Slipping beneath the line of attack, he instinctively filled every opening Jeff left behind, just as water always finds its way through the smallest crack. For Paul Clark, being 50 years old is not a sign of biological decline, but the peak of calculation and experience. As his muscles begin to slow, they are replaced by flawless timing and eyes trained to make the fight appear slower through an absolute understanding of movement. In the end, Jeet Kune Do proves that it is far more than a historical legacy from martial arts cinema. It remains a timeless blueprint for modern combat.